Today, we are diving into a book that, well, it really challenged millions of people to rethink what happiness even is. It's a Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it's a title that absolutely grabs your attention, but trust me, the ideas inside are what really make you stick around. So let's kick things off with an idea that sits right at the heart of this entire book. Manson suggests that our identity, who we really are, isn't found in our wins or our good times, but in our struggles. Who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. It's such a powerful lens to see the rest of his philosophy through. All right, let's get into the big idea here, what Manson calls a philosophy in profanity. You see, this book isn't just another self-help guide trying to slap a smile on your face. Nope. It's a blunt, honest, and actually really deep look at a huge question that kind of hides beneath all the noise of our daily lives. And that question is, what truly deserves our care? I mean, in a world that is constantly screaming for our attention, showing us these perfectly curated lives online, Manson's voice just cuts right through all of it. It's kind of like a Zen monk with a megaphone. It's provocative, for sure, but it's also so refreshingly real. And this is so crucial to get right from the start. Manson is not telling you to be apathetic or to stop caring about everything. Not at all. This is about being selective. It's about consciously choosing where you invest your limited time and energy, reclaiming it from the thousand little things that just don't matter, so you can pour all of it into the few things that really truly do. Okay, so how does he actually break this down for us? Well, the book is built around 9 core lessons, and each one builds on the last. So let's walk through them, one by one, and see how this whole counterintuitive approach to life really takes shape. First up, Lesson 1, and honestly, it's a bit of a shocker. Don't try. Now, hold on. This is not a call to be lazy. It's about letting go of that constant stressful performance of trying to be happy or successful. What Manson's getting at is that when you desperately chase some ideal version of yourself, you're just reinforcing the painful idea that you aren't good enough right now. The real liberation comes when you just accept who you are, flaws and all. And that leads perfectly into Lesson 2. Happiness is a problem. We're constantly sold this idea that life should just be this state of nonstop joy, but Manson calls that out for what it is, a myth. Life, he says, is really about solving problems. So the goal isn't to have a life with 0 problems, because that's impossible. The real question is, which problems are you willing to have? Which problems are actually worth solving for you? Now for Lesson 3, and this one can be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of us. You are not special. And look, this isn't meant as an insult. It's a knock against a culture that tells every single one of us we're destined for greatness, which just ends up creating a ton of entitlement and anxiety. It's a paradox, right? But Manson suggests that embracing our wonderful, beautiful ordinariness, well, that's where true freedom is found. Everyone suffers. That's just part of being human. But Lesson 4 zeroes in on the value of suffering. Manson's point here is that we don't get to choose if we experience pain, but we absolutely can choose what we suffer for. The whole key is to align your struggles with what you truly value so that the pain you go through actually means something. Building on that, Lesson 5 is where the book hands all the power right back to you. You're always choosing. See, even when you can't control what happens to you, you always, and I mean always, control how you interpret it and how you respond. This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about taking radical responsibility. And that is the ultimate shift from feeling like a victim to becoming the agent of your own life. Now, just think about this for a second. What if being certain about everything isn't a strength, but actually a weakness? That's exactly what Lesson 6 argues. You're wrong about everything. Or, at the very least, you should operate as if you might be. You just can't grow if you think you have all the answers. Real growth requires the humility and the courage to question your own beliefs and just stay open. And being open to being wrong leads us so nicely into Lesson 7. Failure is the way forward. We are so conditioned to be terrified of failure, but Manson completely reframes it. It's not a bug in the system, it's a feature. Failure is just data. It's painful feedback, sure, but it provides the actual curriculum for our progress. The whole trick is to learn how to fail forward. Next up, we explore the importance of saying no. And this isn't about being selfish or a hermit. Manson frames saying no as an act of deep self-respect and integrity. It's about setting boundaries. Because here's one of the most powerful takeaways from the book. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values, you're actually saying no to something that does.
And finally, we get to the last lesson, the one that puts everything else into razor-sharp focus. And then you die. Now, this is not meant to be depressing. It's meant to be clarifying. Confronting the reality that we're all going to die is maybe the best tool we have for cutting through all the trivial nonsense. Because when you accept your time is limited, you start to live with more urgency, more presence, and a much greater sense of purpose. So you might be thinking, wow, these ideas feel powerful, but where are they coming from? And that brings us to our next section where we're connecting the threads. We're going to look at the deep philosophical roots of Manson's work, especially in things like Stoicism and existentialism.
Yeah, Manson isn't just pulling these ideas out of thin air. His work draws really heavily on a rich philosophical tradition. On this next slide, you'll see some of the key thinkers who influenced him. You can totally see the echoes of ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus with their focus on accepting what you can't control. And there's this strong current of existentialist thought from people like Camus and Becker, who really wrestled with finding meaning and taking responsibility in a world that can feel pretty chaotic. So, what do you get when you blend all of this together? Well, you get this central thesis, which is really the core of the entire book. You are not in control of life, but you are absolutely in control of your response to it. So let's be super clear here. This isn't a book about giving up on life. It's a book about giving up on the things that are draining your life. That illusion that you're in control of everything, that addiction to being certain all the time, and that exhausting need to be liked by every single person. And after all that, what does it all really boil down to? What is the book's final invitation to us, the readers? In the end, Manson's message is deceptively simple, and it's the heart of the whole philosophy. Care less, but better. Stop giving away your precious energy to everything and everyone, and instead choose to care deeply, and I mean deeply, about the few things that actually matter to you. I mean, think about it. We live in a world that is literally engineered to scream for every last second of your attention. So maybe the most radical, rebellious thing you can do is to quietly and deliberately choose for yourself what is actually worth caring about. And so, we leave you with the exact same question that this entire book is really asking. After you've filtered out all the noise, what will you choose to care about?